let's get right into it. So the next couple we have are Scotty and Arya. I think her name is Arya. Interesting relationship, and let's go by the reputation that's gone on since the show has aired. Scotty is a sociopath, demon. He's a narcissistic sociopath. It honestly scares me how easily we throw these words around while at the same time trying to say that we are introspective. We have taken two common words and now we throw anything negative into that bowl without knowing for certain if that's the truth when there are more nuances, when there's more depth to the situation than that. So this time it's the male who gives out the ultimatum. He's asking Arya to marry him. She don't want to marry him. She doesn't even live in the same city as he lives in, and he wants to marry this person. Arya goes on the show. She has a slight connection with JR from my previous video, but another more, I say, kind of connection that she needs in this situation is with the guy by the name of Caleb. See, Caleb is the polar opposite of Scotty. Scotty has a huge issue to where he feels wronged or mistrust. He lashes out in an almost volatile way. Just not physically volatile, but mentally volatile. Scotty seems like the person that he'll say anything to cut and hurt your feelings if he feels his feelings are hurt. I'll call him vindictive at the least. He's going to lash out. Scotty had a connection with Zaina, interesting enough, which was JR's girl that he came on the show with. But at the beginning, it seemed like they could be a perfect fit. But I think that's mainly because of the good qualities that Zaina showed as her willingness to be a wife. The only negativity I can say about that is it looks like she wants the wife role more than choosing an individual. If any man that's monogamous that could fit into that slot, he'll do good enough because she wants to be married and have children. That'd be the only possible negative thing I can say about her. But we start to see a little bit of his personality because he looks like this cool, suave guy who sometimes make these weird faces that he thinks is seductive, but is looking a little creepyish. Um, it was during the time when he was sitting down talking to Zaina, and we see Arya crying because she sees their connection for the first time, and she comes over and she cries and she tries to talk to him. In that argument, the way he was coming across, I felt like if there was no cameras there, he was going to yell a lot harder and be a lot more cruel than he actually was. That was my first big cause of concern with him. What really showed me his true colors was his actual argument he had with Zaina when he believed that Zaina went and told JR that he said something bad about him and she didn't do it. It was a lot to pick apart in this scene because the vindictiveness was on full display. The anger was to be so nice to a person and you walk in and you make this evil face as if she is the worst person on earth, like you're really about to give it to her. And in that episode, she handled that with such grace and such poise. Much prop to Zaina for that situation. But I learned a lot about Scotty watching them argue, watching him process. And it seems that he understands this is a problem because, again, he goes in the opposite direction from black and white. He goes from, I'm extremely upset at you, I'm going to come at you hardcore, but then he changes and recognizes when he's wrong. That's not necessarily a good thing, especially if this is a pattern that someone repeats. It shows me he's going to always be in a volatile relationship due to trauma that he has. And if he doesn't get over this trauma, he's never going to have that wife in that life that he loves. Even if he gets someone to sign on a dotted line and marry him, this is a process that's going to continue. When we get down to the actual proposal, the final episode where he proposes to Ariana, this is what I feel that took place. I think that Scotty believed, keyword being believe, I think that Scotty believed that he had mastered the trauma he needed. He was ready to be open and vulnerable and let it all out and give her the reassurance that she needed that this is a thing of the past. If we get into any argument or any situation, I have learned that's no way to be, and I can't handle life that way. I truly feel if you hooked him up to a lie detector test, he would pass because not that it's true, but he believes it. And that's what a lie detector test is based upon. He believes it so strongly he would pass a lie detector test. However, I don't think that was true. The real issue that took place where this relationship was always going to be doomed forever was her accepting the proposal and then breaking the proposal off the next day. I think Scotty fired himself up like, I love you so much, girl. Wait till we get into our first argument. I'm going to show you how nice and poised I'm going to be. And then the best thing that could happen to him happened to him. Her turning down the proposal the following day is the best thing that could happen in his entire life. And that's because he was ready for any normal argument. He was ready to show that he's changed, but it wasn't real. He had not changed. And the only thing to push that out of him, to let him see he has much more growth that he needs to do, something major needed to happen to shake his trust to the core. Because once that trust was shaken and she broke off that engagement, Scotty said in his mind, see, that's why I don't do this nice boy shit. That's why I was cool being vindictive and being cold before. He went right into it. So because she broke that off the next day, this following year, from when the show was filmed and when the show came out, they had a volatile relationship. I honestly think that Arya really wanted to marry him, but Arya wanted him to meet her halfway. Okay, I want to be honest with you and up front. I'm not ready for this proposal, probably because she needed to see some action behind it, and they have not had any opportunity for her to see him in action of how he'll handle situations. But she wanted to give him a bone. The bone I'm going to give you is we are going to move together. That's my half I'm going to give you. We're going to move in together. The half I need you to give me is that if anything comes up, you're not going to turn back into the old Scotty. But he was going to always be the old Scotty because he moved in with her with this hatred built up inside because you turned me down on my knee. You turned me down on national television on a proposal. And this is where I don't agree with the fans. The fans are saying she did that because she did not want to embarrass him on television. Well, if that's true, then the most diabolical scene is when they walk away holding hands. She reaffirmed her love for him. She reaffirmed how much she wanted to marry him. Because as they walked away holding hands, she looked at him and said, I can't believe, like, whoa, you thought I was going to say no? I love you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say no to you. Think about it if you're Scotty. You need to talk to a shrink because you see nothing wrong with being vindictive. You see nothing wrong with being harsh. You see nothing wrong with treating people wrong once you feel. Keyword being feel, because a lot of times when he feel like he's being wrong, he's not actually being wrong. But if these are your actions when you feel that you're being wrong, and you got to go back and it's boiling up inside of your head, man, she reaffirmed after I proposed to her, like, of course I was going to say yes to you. These things are building more resentment for him. They're going through these volatile situations within an entire year. And then at the end of this, they got to sit down as a couple, forced, because they're living in the same place now. And they never done that before. They lived in two different cities, and he's being volatile towards her. Now they got to sit down on that couch together and watch these episodes. And this is when I feel that Scotty is being even more selfish because he's not understanding that Arya got to watch these episodes and his connection build with another woman. He's not thinking about that at all. All he's thinking is, I'm watching these episodes and I see my woman who turned me down for my proposal last year and was building this strong relationship, this connection with Caleb. Now, this is where I think the fans are hypocrites because JR is the world's biggest villain. Why? Because JR lied about his connection with Sandy. But we don't like JR, so it's 1,000 times wrong. We like Arya. So when Arya admits that she lied and downplayed her connection with Caleb, no one bats an eye. So again, do you like people or do you have morals and principles you have in your brain and you base who does these actions off of your morals and principles? Because outside of the physical kiss, as far as the mental connection, JR and Arya did the same thing. Place this into a mind of a man who does not handle situations the correct way, who needs a lot of more growth and work on himself and needs to talk to a shrink. You put this inside this person, this relationship is doomed. He will never be able to get over this. He will never be able to forgive her for these actions. So as much as they wanted the relationship to work, it just was not going to work for the same reasons he thought he was already over. He was not over it. He has not changed at all. And until he recognizes this, again, he will never be in a successful relationship. And while I think it's far more easier for Arya to get into a successful relationship, I do hope that she comes to terms that you do need to be more open with your partner if that's what you claim that you want. Look, guys, in the end, I tell my people, I'm going to watch The Ultimatum, but I just don't like it. I don't like the feeling. I like the feeling that Love is Blind gives me. Possibly people go in here and they have the opportunity to show that you can fall in love without seeing a person. Doesn't always work, but the goal is optimism. Look at the goal on this show. The goal on this show, you need to leave your partner and you need to have a connection with someone else because it doesn't work. It's a waste of time if you don't build a connection with someone else. The point is to build that connection and see the good qualities in your partner and that they could be best for you, or you leave and break up your relationship that you was with for years over someone that you've just talked to and don't even know. And may not even be in the same city since they choose people from all over. So I don't like the premise of the show. The way the show is set up, I don't think there'll ever be a season where all the contestants stay on. A couple left from season 1. A couple left from season 2. 2 couples left from season 3. It's because this is a very stressful situation. If you're bringing people on your show and they're even contemplating the decision to talk about marriage, that is a strong connection, whether they have problems in a relationship or the relationship is going perfect. It's just that one wants to get married right now. If you bring people like that on a show that's involving other people for both of them to with the goal to connect and have feelings for, it's just not going to turn out great. It's not going to turn out well. As I mentioned in my previous video, we do have a couple that went through the entire process and getting married, but Randall got to live with the fact that his chick bought him on the show and smashed another guy. Like it's just, I don't like, this one of them shows I watch because I'm gonna make videos and stuff off of it, but I would be okay missing The Ultimatum. It's just got this dark undertone to it of messiness. And outside of a few contestants, you notice they kind of cast younger on this show than they do on a show like Love is Blind or a show like Married at First Sight. And I wonder why. If you would consistently cast older people on a show like this, you're not going to have a show, because when you put them with someone else, the likelihood that they just ignore the person or put the person in the friend zone for 3 weeks, chill, and go back to their partner is going to be higher. The likelihood that you're going to get your ratings, you're going to get your drama, is putting young people on this show, because there's a more better likelihood that they are going to catch feelings for someone else. They are looking to leave that relationship. And then Nick, Vanessa, and Netflix gets what they want while breaking couples apart. So I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of The Ultimatum. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching for you guys, but not really my cup of tea. Holla at your boy.